simply happy campers out here in the African bush, except for the fact that my booster seat isn't, sorry, hold on. My booster seat is collapsed in the middle. There we go. Feel a bit better now. I have to sit on several blankets and a cushion in order to be able to see over the bonnet. Mark Kim has asked a very salient question. Mark Kim has said, well, really love the show, but is there any reason why we don't see giraffe? No, there isn't any reason why we don't see giraffe. We do actually see giraffe on a relatively regular basis. However, I do feel that we've had less giraffe sightings than we've had recently, and I don't know if that's not because it is so dry here. Perhaps they have moved to areas where there's slightly more browsing potential. But that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because the elephants are all here, the whole of this area is in the same boat. There's not really that many places they can go in order to find more food. So I think that I think it's just pure coincidence. We happen to be on a sort of a downswing in terms of giraffe sightings. We haven't seen that many. The last person who asked for giraffe was Shanae's sister Tiffany, and we managed to deliver upon that. Just we got lucky and we happened to find some for her because she absolutely loves giraffe. And by the way, I don't know if Tiffany's watching or not, but if Tiffany is watching, I'd just like to say a really huge thank you for the drawing. I did get it and I absolutely loved it, so thank you. That was incredibly kind of you. And I promise you, every time I see a giraffe, I will be hoping that you are watching our live safari. Right, so my mission has changed. We're going to find a giraffe, I've decided. It's not that we drive past them or we ignore them. They just seem to be a little bit scarce on the ground at the moment. Population hasn't dropped. They must be somewhere. And certainly so should the animals be. I'm not going to force poor Dave into a bird challenge. I think he did lots of birds yesterday with Brent, didn't you, Dave? Yes. Okay. We'll stop for the very exciting birds. Now, as far as I know, we got around 15 mils or 12 mils. Valeria, it seems as though Arathusa may even have had more rain than we did. Now, Valeria was hoping for rain in order for that poor hippopotamus that is in the Arathusa Dam to be in a less pitiful state. And it is really shame. It is tragic to watch. He's basically just stuck in mud rather than water. Valeria, apparently they had even more than we did. I don't know exactly how much they had. A breeding herd here, or is this just buffalo bulls? I think we've come upon a buffalo breeding herd. Let's see. Oh, definitely a breeding herd. I always start sneezing when there's a breeding herd. Actually, just in general, thank you by the way, Dave. I start sneezing when I see buffalo. It's not a breeding herd. I'm wrong. It is a group of Dugger boys. The name given to these buffalo bulls that, sorry, I'm trying to shift around on my booster seat, which has suddenly become very uncomfortable. The buffalo bulls that move about either on their own or in small herds. I'm going to try this again. Because once again there is a pearl-spotted owlet calling. And I did this yesterday. Yes, no? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually talking to a tiny, tiny little owl, bigger than the size of my hand. And by the way, I know that this is a word that is very tricky in a South African accent. I'm saying the word owl, O-W-L. For some reason, it is something that South Africans don't say with any clarity. I'm trying to call him over to us, but he doesn't seem to want to. Oh, look, it's the gentleman with the blind right eye. Hello, boy. We get to know these buffalo relatively well. There's quite a few of them with these blind eyes, through cataracts or glaucoma, through, it might even be through impact in terms of fighting with other males. You know, if they bash heads often enough, they can actually tear the wall of the retina, and they end up with these milky eyes. But as I said, we get to know the regulars, as I think of them. I started thinking that perhaps we should start naming a few of them things like, I don't know, we'll name them after the great thinkers of the world, with a certain degree of irony, because I personally don't know that buffalo do a huge amount of thinking, but perhaps this gentleman could be called something like Aristotle or Galileo, or something similar. They do look at you with a sort of philosophical, but very indifferent glance. Oh, a bit of a slide down there. Shame, old boy. He is very old. You can sort of see it in the stiffness of the way that he walks. Now, one thing I must say, and there's quite a few buffalo, so many buffalo bulls in here, that it initially led to me thinking that perhaps it was a breeding herd. Now, I have never seen herds of male buffalo like I have in this area. Huge herds, 15 up to, the biggest one I ever counted was 50 male buffalo together. That's something that I have never encountered in all my time working in the bush, is this such large groups of buffalo bulls. But because we spend a lot of time sitting with them and watching them on camera, you get to identify their individual features. He looks like a Newton to me. Perhaps a Newton. The other gentleman can be Einstein. Oh, that right eye is actually quite scary. There's one buffalo on Arathusa on the far western edge. He often goes into elephant plains. And funnily enough, individually, myself and several of my guiding friends that are outside of the Wild Earth team, we all feel as though he's got something absolutely terrifying about his expression. He really, really does look scary. And he's also got a blind eye, and there's something about it that does make him look particularly unsettling. Shame, this buffalo, they are starting to lose condition. And this buffalo, because he's quite an old boy, he's one of the first to start showing signs of malnutrition. Bones sticking through a little bit. It sort of goes back to what Valeria was saying. I mean, this rain was wonderful, and hopefully it will start to help out our poor hippopotamus in Arathusa Dam. But I don't think so. It's going to be soaked up by the thirsty earth. There might be a few more puddles for our hippopotamus, but it's not going to be enough to fill the dam overnight. And certainly not enough to bring or improve the quality of the grasses a huge amount, unless this keeps happening. Maybe a couple of rains like that in the next few nights, and we will see a change to the vegetation. I'm seeing a lot of browsing buffalo at the moment. Well, he's sticking to the drainage line areas where the food has slightly more nutritional value. So these basically dried up river systems. Hello, buffalo. Have you by any chance seen two lionesses wandering about? Speaking of our old buffalo bulls, a warm welcome to Tasha. It's great to have you on the back of our vehicle as always. Now, Tasha would like to know at what age buffalo stop breeding. I don't know, to be completely honest with you. I don't know completely. My guess, look, buffalo bulls generally don't live much beyond 15 years of age. A buffalo of 10 is starting to approach old age, but with most male animals, this buffalo bull is probably still perfectly capable of reproducing if he comes across a female. However, he may not be able to compete with some of the younger, stronger males that are in better condition for access to a female in estrus. Sorry, boy. No offense meant. Don't take it personally. That expression on his face. And Tasha, for the females, I would guess they probably stop reproducing at around 12 or 13. But again, that is entirely a guess. Omega Sheila, just in terms of aging our buffalo, talking about him being old and maybe not up to competing with another male. But I don't think so. I think that buffalo bulls can probably reproduce for the rest of their males, at least. Just like most mammals, we're able to reproduce right up until their death. You want to know how you age a buffalo? It's difficult. Generally, the older buffaloes are the ones that form these Duggar herds, so you can look at behavior. The best way to age a buffalo is to examine the condition of their teeth, how worn down they are, how damaged they are. Unfortunately, getting a buffalo to say "ah" is a tricky business. They're not really prone to yawning, and they don't really do it on request. Say "ah"? See, not really. But look at the scarring around his face. He very kindly turned his head for us there. And there's scarring around the face and the base of the horns, damage and chips away from the bone, nicks and cuts around the ears. Now, a young buffalo doesn't have those. That is something... We're in the middle of a shout-off between two pearl-spotted owlets. Sorry, yes, scarring and so on will also add to the aging process, or are a part of the aging process. I'm going to try this one more time, sorry. Come on, owls. Come say hello. Pearl-spotted owlet is my favorite owlet. Well, my favorite owl, actually. They just look so angry. So grumpy. Much like buffalo bulls. Okay, boy. He has turned his back upon us. He's tired of being closely examined. I think we're going to move on, since my owls don't want to come and say hello. And the buffalo is moving off. While we carry on towards Buffelshoek Dam, let's head across to Brent for an update on his progress this afternoon.
Well, we're still exploring the Mawati, but we're actually on our way back to Shongile and Hosana. Isn't that exciting? I still wanted to do a check of the top sections of the Mawati to see if Karula's tracks didn't possibly cross. They haven't. So we are slowly making our way back down towards where we found the cubs, and very exciting, and we're going to plan to spend as much time as possible there today. I'm just trying to see if I can get another way to get there. Okay, so we first spotted them just up here. So, can you believe those cubs are just 10 meters from us at the moment, beyond the steep bank. So we've got to go all the way around to get there. So I don't think we're going to climb up this bank. See if they're... No, I think we are going to have to be sensible and go the long way around. Doesn't look like any access points from around here. Andre, did you see that? Sorry, I'll get it, Andre. Now we're right next to one of the main access roads, and occasionally litter does accidentally fall out of vehicles. And then sometimes I've actually seen elephants pick up some of the litter and move it around. And I think that's what might happen here. Or actually, I think this was someone's water bottle because it's full. Sip, Chandra? I think this might have been sitting here for a while, just judging at the sun damage. Now, probably find that might have fallen off in summer when there was a lot of thick grass around there, and now, just because it's winter, we're able to spot it. There we go, ears back in. Golden light hour approaching. Oh, I think we've played this one quite well, John, there. Now it's also, the temperature's dropping slightly, so there's a good chance that those little cubbies might, whoops, there goes my door open, might start playing shortly, which will be really, really good. Yeah. So we'll just get to the spot that we went off the road from. Now, the other thing that could be quite exciting that might happen by spending a lot of time with these cubs is the fact that Queen Karula herself might come to join us. So I'm just going to wait for the other vehicle to come out. Pull over to the side. So we're going to have to do a bit of bundu bashing for the next little while. It is quite a tricky area to get into from this side. Righto. No worries. She crossed apparently heading northeast, and I've checked on Leadwood, but after the rain last night the tracks and it's a bit difficult. So she's around somewhere. Cool. Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back in there. As I was saying, forgive us for any scrapes and bangs on the mic. We do have to go through some quite thick bush to get down there. Good, Andre. Still quite a way to go. Yeah, so while we try to get ourselves into the position to get a great view of those little monsters, let's go see what Jamie's up to.
While Brent gets a position, this is now his catchphrase, isn't it? For all cubs, great and small, or all cubs spotted or otherwise, seems to be monsters. They're either fuzzy monsters or delectable monsters. The delectable Delectable? Would we call them that? Anyway, moving on. Buffelshoek Dam is where I have arrived at, and I wanted to come and see what effect the amount of rain is that we have had over the last 24-hour period. As you can see, we now have two Buffelshoek dams. Buffelshoek Major and Buffelshoek Minor. This is Buffelshoek Minor. Clearly. Oh, it has made a little bit of a difference, still not enough to fill up and cover the mud that started to appear over the last few weeks, but it has completely thrown off my prediction that Buffelshoek Dam would be dry by the end of July. So I eat my words. Buffelshoek Dam is definitely not going to be dry by the end of July, unless we have some kind of incredible heat wave. It has plenty of water in it still. Our hippo friend is not here, though, to take advantage of it. Perhaps he has moved to more friendly climes. Luckily, we can always rely upon the resident blacksmith lapwing. Called blacksmith lapwing because of the call that they make that sounds a little bit like a hammer upon an anvil, like a blacksmith would use. Might just be able to hear it. Tick, 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 tick. Tick, 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 tick. Otherwise, surprisingly, I was kind of hoping for a herd of elephants or something might be coming across for a late afternoon drink, but it all seems to be incredibly quiet at Buffelshoek Dam, apart from the blacksmith lapwing and the buffalo weavers that are chirping merrily away as they build their nests. And so we shall carry on and see what else we can find. And Jerry Cheesecake, I have to ask that username, is that reference to our lovely Geraldine, who of course her cheesecake making skills are famous across the land, or are you in fact another cheesecake Jerry Cheesecake? And Jerry Cheesecake, I have, oh yes, I do remember, I stopped at the lapwing. I knew there was a reason I stopped. Our lapwing is now sort of down closer to the dam wall on the edge of the water over here. Or we can have a look at the three-banded plover. That equally answers my question. Sorry, Dave. Oh, we do this to our cameraman all the time. That was 100% my fault. But it does actually, either way, answer Jerry Cheesecake's question, because we have two members of the same family. Well done, Dave. There's the one we're looking at. Two members of the family that... So Jerry Cheesecake has said, I thought the blacksmith lapwings were renamed plovers. It is in fact the other way around. The blacksmith plovers have been renamed blacksmith lapwings, as well as the crowned plovers. I always knew them as crowned plovers. They are now crowned lapwings. And the Senegal lapwings have become Senegal lapwings instead of being called, I think they were the lesser striped, or the... what were they called before? I don't even remember. But yes, our birds have undergone a mass renaming in order to standardize bird names across the world. Blacksmith plovers have become lapwings. They are still, however, part of the plover family. And the only plover, traditionally, that we still have is the three-banded plover that Dave accidentally showed you earlier. A much, much smaller member of the plover lapwing group. But they're both essentially the same thing. I'm not exactly sure why it was they chose to go with lapwing as opposed to plover, but that is the approach that they have gone with. One of their big things is their foot structure, because they are ground birds, ground-dwelling birds. They don't have a back toe that supports their body weight, so their track just leaves 3 little toes. So they are lapwings, not plovers officially, but Jerry Cheesecake, I will 100% forgive you for calling them plovers, because I still do. That is the name that remains with me from when I learned birds as a child. In the same way, I still call grey-go-away birds grey luries, and I call violet-backed starlings plum-coloured starlings. What are the other ones? Oh, and I call green woodhoopoos red-billed woodhoopoos at times. There has been much in the way of renaming. The one that makes me the saddest is the renaming of the African harrier hawk to African harrier hawk. It used to be called the Djuma. Now, I don't know what the background is to the name Djuma, but I far preferred it to the name African harrier hawk. I think just because of the ring. It's a Djuma. It's a lovely name. Okay, let us move on. Sorry, Dave, I did promise you we wouldn't do birding. This is this is an initiative that was actually a South African-driven initiative, but comes from several organizations, including and several very important members of the birding fraternity. The very keen twitchers. I'm not sure if you would label them ornithologists. They don't label themselves ornithologists, but members of an organization called BirdLife SA, BirdLife South Africa, were some of the ones that main proponents behind standardizing the name for our various birds, because of course these birds are spread out throughout Africa, and some of course migrate all the way up towards Europe. And it was decided that perhaps it would be really nice if we could all just call them by the same name to avoid confusion. Now, not all countries have accepted it, and certainly not all people, such as myself, have accepted it. The grey go-away bird will forever, in my mind, be a grey lory. But some of it does make sense, because, for example, the grey lories, the grey go-away birds, are not lories. They're more closely related to plantain eaters than they are to lories, which created, I suppose, with a name like that, it does gear us towards an untrue perception of their evolutionary background and their family background. So I suppose it does make sense. Just because I don't want to accept it doesn't mean that it isn't right. It's just hard to break habits that have been formed over the last 20 years in a sort of a slightly shorter period of time. Let us find out how Brent's repositioning has been in order to get him another view of those spotty monsters.
You can see how beautiful it is in the Tumbuti thicket at this time of the day. Look at this absolutely gorgeous sight that surrounds us. The late afternoon light filtering through, and of course having a little nap inside the Tumbuti thicket are two of the most favoured creatures on Djuma. Shongile and Hisana waiting patiently for their mother's return. Tired kitties. They might still start playing shortly. Sorry about the bumps, I just need to move, my knee's getting sore. It's touchy. There we go. Yeah, I'll try to sit still now. I can see Jean-Ray, I'm not even looking, but I know Jean-Ray's boring his eyeballs into the back of my head. Here we go. Isn't that just too sweet? Well, Rita is very observant. She's noticed that the leopard cubs have different eye colors. Oh, head up, no, head down, head down. Well, I think it was a biting fly. Rita, and she's wondering whether this is normal. Oh, Rita, it is quite normal for leopards to have different eye colors, and cubs from the same litter. It's not unusual at all. So, Shangila's got those wonderful brown eyes, whereas Hasana's got the more typical sort of golden cat eyes. Now, I'm really hoping that as the temperature drops a little bit of that mischievous side of these little cats comes out. You can see how the leaves and their coat sort of create similar patterns, and that's why they've got those incredible spots for camouflage. Oh, look there, look at the tiny little paw. Isn't that just too cute for words? Oh, little twitch in the toe. Come on, guys, it's playtime. Now, they're about 6 months old now, and Tasha Michelle is wondering, are they making any small hunts on their own? Probably so far just insects, maybe the odd gecko or lizard or field mouse, but from this age on they will start maybe possibly catching birds like francolin or even a guinea fowl, monitor lizard, but they still probably got another good 3 months or so of growing before they could really tackle anything bigger than a little bird. But it all depends. They could grow very quickly. It's going to be very exciting to watch, and hopefully, fingers crossed, imagine if we hear for the first confirmed kill that one of these little guys makes. Now, of course, Queen Karula might leave them here for 3 or 4 days without returning. That's not unusual. But she is such a prolific hunter and a great mother that she might be back even sooner. So peaceful here in the Tambuti thicket. It's almost difficult to imagine that these sweet little things will grow up to be apex predators. We can see some bugs catching the golden light in the screen there. Of course, those bugs probably only hatched this morning after the little bit of rain we had last night. And there we can see that true African golden light coming into this little Tambuti grove that we're in. Some really great place for these leopard cubs to hide. Lots of trees around so that they can scamper up, and lots of small straight stemmed trees, which is what you really want if you're a little leopard cub. You don't want something that a lion or a male leopard might be able to climb easily. Oh, well, the cubs are not the only things cuddling up today, and right in front of us you see them, Jean-Andre. There's a pair of doves cuddling up and doing some grooming, enjoying the last little bit of the evening light. There we go. It's amazing. If you look around carefully, there's always so much that's happening, and we're right pretty much in the heart of the riverine bush at the moment. We've got timberties and guarries around us. But we're not going to spend too much time now. We're going to leave shortly as the sun starts setting because Mom's not here. So Alice is wondering, why do leopard cubs seem to play a lot less than lion cubs? Probably because there's not as many of them to play with. Also, when Mom, look at that, sibling pillow, when Mom is around. Oh, just tired kitties. Now, Ruth in Gauteng is wondering, is there a reason or an instinctive reason that they don't follow their mom when she goes off hunting, or is it learnt behavior? Well, they get quite severely chastised by the mothers, snarled at, growled at, when she doesn't want them to follow, but when she does want them to follow, they're sort of encouraging little ow, ow, and little calls and chuffs, will sort of let them know that she wants them to follow, as opposed to, as Ruth will understand, a mournful thunder. So a snarl, and it's a, well, Afrikaans saying, a mouth full of teeth. Can be used for a different way as well. Someone can't get their words out, but I think in a leopard's case, if she shows you a mouth full of teeth, she's not too happy with you. So I'd say we've got maybe 4 minutes left here. Now Brian's wondering, will the leopard cubs stay exactly where Mom left them, or will they wander around? Brian, they wander around a little bit, like we've seen them today, around this termite mound, maybe down into this little erosion gully next to us, climb a tree, play about, but they won't move very, very far. So probably no more than 20 to 30 meters from where Mom left them. As they get older, they get braver, and they do tend to move around a little bit more. There we go, we can see the sun setting, so that's our cue that we're going to have to leave these little cubs. We will be back here first thing tomorrow morning on the sunrise safari to see if they're still around. But I'm going to have to leave the area, and we're going to close the sighting. So Jean-Ray is going to leave you with a gorgeous shot of the sun through the wonderful little Timbuti Grove, and we're going to go back to Jamie. Well, from the gorgeous shot of the sunset that John was giving you to another gorgeous shot of the sunset. Unfortunately, Jamie found a gremlin as the link happened. So we're still here, and I was just about to reverse. So just before I do that, let's have one last look at the two fluff balls on top of each other, and then I'm going to slowly move my way out of here. Look at that, just too sweet. Well, little kitties, I hope you're here in the morning. While Jamie battles gremlins, we're going to battle the reverse. They didn't even move their heads. Too sweet. Okay, so apparently Jamie is back, so we're going to go to her while we try get out of this beautiful little Timbuti thicket.
choked, is a warthog. Ouch. Okay. I think I'm back. There's a big warthog over there. I'm very sorry about that. And just before Brad sent you across to me, I took a huge sip of water. And then I tried to swallow in a hurry so that I could tell you about this warthog. And so far I'm doing a marvelous job of it. I'm just going to wipe away the tears that are now streaming down my face. And our warthog is gone. So, all in all, that didn't work out exactly as I planned it to. You know when you are one of those choking moments where you actually can't get the air in to cough it out? Okay, I think we have recovered and the warthog's gone completely. I'm so sorry. Oh, there's a kudu there. There's 2 kudu there. There's actually quite a few kudu around Nyala Road North. Okay. I have recovered myself. I'm now going to take a genteel sip of water to try and soothe my poor throat. Okay. So, note to self, no drinking water and trying to talk at the same time. It doesn't work. And it ends with all of your animals disappearing off into the distance. Luckily, we've still got some kudu around. And one thing I've noticed is around this time of day, their accompanying oxpeckers are all taking to the skies and heading back to find their roosting spots for the night. It's a lovely, lovely time of day to be out in the African bush. Especially down, nobody's driven this road since the rain. We're on the Nyala Road North, and it's just absolutely beautiful down here. Thick drainage line area, it smells amazing. Or at least it did before my nose started running because I choked. Really is stunning. Okay, that trauma is behind us. I think we shall move on and see what other things we can find, because that didn't go terribly according to plan, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Ouch. It was quite it was quite painful. MMG says, Jeepers, I wasn't meant to eat the black screen gremlins. Sorry, MMG. I thought it was the best possible way, of dealing with that particular situation was to try and swallow them. Unfortunately, one thing we now know about gremlins, they cannot be swallowed. They will stick in your throat. Okay, I am recovered. I can't even remember what I was going to tell you all about. It's due to oxygen deprivation. My brain is now oxygen deprived. But that's okay. All is well. Sort of. Absolutely, MMG. Note to self, no more attempting to swallow gremlins as a way of getting rid of them. Right, well, on we go into the African evening. What I was going to say is it's a beautiful time of day to be heading out and about. Who knows what might be lingering in the darkness or the impending darkness. On these beautifully cool winter's evenings, there's a hint, just a hint of spring in the air. I think it's probably just from the rain, but it feels as though there is a hint of spring in the air, and it's an absolute pleasure to be out here. It's not too cold just yet. It will be a little bit chilly. And Jerry Connor, lovely to have you on board with us on this African evening here in the African bush. The sun in midsummer will set. How's this, Dave? This is a good spot, or should we go back a bit? a good spot. Well, we might as well look at the sunset whilst watching the sunset. The sun in midsummer will set just sort of around 7:30. No, maybe about 7:15 in our summer evenings. So our show in midsummer changes times, and we start an hour later and continue on to 7. The pearl-spotted owlets are still calling. So at its very highest point, that's around when the sun sets. And it's such a lovely time of year. That, of course, makes our days a little bit longer, because we also start the morning safari an hour earlier, sometimes even an hour and a half earlier, right in the middle of summer. Getting up at 3:30 or so in the morning, and heading, or 4:45, and then heading out at around 4:30 to find, because the best time to be on a safari out here is in first thing in the morning or in the afternoon as it starts to get dark. It's the best time for seeing all of the animals, because you get the nocturnal creatures as well as the diurnal animals either waking up or going to sleep. Now, my favorite time of day is first thing in the morning. It carries with it that excitement and expectation of a new day, and sort of transports me back to being a child, when my parents and I would get up really early to go and visit the Kruger National Park. But this is my second favorite time of day, particularly in the summer when you've got the scent of the flowers and the plants. There's no sunset quite like an African sunset, even on a clear day without the clouds to make it even more spectacular. Those silhouettes of the trees just can't be beaten. Dave, that's your favorite tree, by the way. Wow. the injury-inducing tree. Okay, shall we go and see what we can find? I think that's a good idea. I'm just going to try and remind my lungs how to function normally again. Where to go? Let's go this way. Let's take the road less travelled. Oh, brilliant. The road less travelled has some zebra on it. Just trying. They're in an awkward position because they're right next to a termite mound. And what that does, it's very important to, you get a feel for the animal's spatial awareness as well as your own. And what you become aware of is what's next to them and around them, and how trapped they will feel if you come racing around the corner, which is obviously not what we want to do. And we're coming through nice and slowly to give our zebra plenty of time to move and not feel uncomfortable. Hi guys! Oh, what a lovely picture. A really lovely herd of zebra. And there's no animal quite so picturesque, I think, or photogenic is maybe the word. They are such photogenic animals. And we've got, actually looks as though we've got a bachelor herd with us. And not a breeding herd as I first thought, or a harem. Looks as though it's a group of males, stallions, grouping together for comfort and for company more than anything else. Giving a gentle snort. Really lovely time to just stop and listen to the sounds of the bush. And fork-tailed drongo imitating the pearl-spotted owl again. But not very well, kind of without skill. Listen to it, it's trying. Almost stronger, keep trying. It's so cute. It's sort of inexpertly trying to imitate the call of the... There we go. Come on. Nearly. Oh, no, that was completely off. No, not quite. It sounds like... Okay, now it's gone back to its normal drongo call, but it sounds like a student playing the piano and trying to learn a famous song and getting all the wrong notes and then correcting them. That's exactly what this little fork-tailed drongo sounds like. It's awesome. So the fork-tailed drongo, by the way, for new viewers, because I sort of took that for granted, I'm going to reposition so you can see it. I don't want to... You got it. Now that's the little fork-tailed drongo. You can't... I'm not actually going to reposition because I think it'll fly away and stop its chorus. Oh, flew away anyway. Yes, thank you. Hello. Oh, bye-bye. Keeping you guessing, Dave. Oh, beautiful background of clouds in the back. So this little bird is a fork-tailed drongo, and it is nature's trickster out here. Really, really gifted mimic. And one of the birds I've noticed them imitating a lot, we had this yesterday on the sunset safari as well, is a pearl-spotted owlet, because they're calling a lot at this time of day, and in winter they're particularly vocal during the day when the drongos are awake. And that, I think, is why they're imitating them as much as they are. This is awesome. This is so cool. This is so cool. This is a totally wild bird doing a totally different call to its normal one. It's imitating the whistle of an owlet, and it's responding to me calling to it. This is absolutely fascinating. I'm really enjoying this. Sorry, I'm now having a ball. This is so cool. This is awesome. Okay. I'm sorry, I'll stop now. Almost. This is a call and response game. Almost. This is awesome. Okay, I'm sorry. I've got completely distracted. This is so much fun. They're such amazing little birds. That is so clever. I shall call you Brian. Really stunning image. Brian, of course, is one of our cameramen. He's a marvelous imitator. I'm sorry, I have got completely distracted here imitating our fork-tailed drongo, but that was so much fun. The little joyful moments and the connections that we share with these animals in such a fleeting moment. It's so much fun. Alright, I'm going to stop whistling at birds and carry on, search for things to show you. In the meantime, let's head across to Brent for an update.
Now, we couldn't see a cloud in the sky earlier, but in the distance, far to the south, is what looks to be building into a monstrous winter thunderstorm. And of course, those are quite uncommon. Or I suppose we probably get one decent rain every winter, but there we go, some cumulus clouds building, so there might be some thunder and lightning later. But at the moment, they just look like pink, fluffy marshmallows. Or cotton candy. What do you think, Chandra? Cotton candy?
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows, cotton candy. Well, something sweet and good to eat. So, we're just sort of heading around the area of Treehouse Dam. I also want to see how much water was collected there, but it is one of Karula's favorite hunting areas. So that's the other reason we're heading through here. So fingers crossed. We've left those two little gems hiding in the Timbuti thicket, and we're looking for Mom now. Temperature's dropping quite quickly. And I think I might be looking for another jacket quite soon, but we're nearly at Treehouse Waterhole. So how much water do we think is going to be there? I don't think too much, although this has one of the waterholes that's got quite good catchment. And it has a high water table. This is the area where the elephants do dig for water still sometimes. Oh, I don't think much. A puddle, a large puddle, and we could almost jump across it. And Chandra would like me to try, but looking at it from this angle, I'm definitely going to get wet feet and cold feet if I do that. It's always good at this time of the day to just sit quietly for a second and listen. Might catch some alarm calls. But not much, I'm afraid. So we're going to keep moving on, see what else we might be able to find. And remember, we're on a live African safari. And if you have any questions, pop us an email, questions@WildEarthTV, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Hi, Janet. I put up a trail camera or a camera trap the other day, and Janet is wondering if I got any pictures. Unfortunately, Janet, I did, but nothing to write home about. Some impala, a set of legs of an inyala, and the tail of a slender mongoose. So I've got it back with me, and I'm going to put it out somewhere again this evening. I am looking for a system that we can go check it on drive. So we will have a look at that tonight, and hopefully by tomorrow I'll have something sorted. So every morning we can go out and check the camera trap. It's a lovely, crisp, clean smell in the bush, which is quite different from what we've been experiencing for the last little while with all the dust, and quite nice to breathe in without clogging one's nostrils with half of Africa. Hi, Daryl Peters. Daryl's wondering about that little dry riverbed, the Mawati, that we've been exploring around today. And Daryl would like to know, do I think it's going to fill up with water and start flowing during the wet season? It is possible, but it's unlikely. Even during the height of the wet season, these little systems generally only flow for at longest a day or two, but normally just a couple of hours. But then, of course, the water table does rise, and the elephants do dig for water in there, but it's unlikely that they're going to flow for an extended period of time. We are in quite an arid part of South Africa. Get, on average, probably about 400 mils of rain a year. So, not that much, but enough. What was that? It was a large pile of elephant dung. Jean-Andre, you see that little bird flicking its tail? Can you get there before he flies, Jean-Andre? Oh, he's flown, Jean-Andre. It was a white-browed scrub robin that disappeared. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're going to keep meandering about. We're looking for Queen Karula, the dominant female leopard of Djuma. While we do that, let's see how Jamie's endeavours are going.
My endeavours, as of this point, have been relatively unsuccessful, but we're still just enjoying another wonderful evening. I'm hoping for a porcupine. I say that every night because I figure if I say it every single night, statistics seem to sort of weigh in my favor of eventually getting it right and finally having a porcupine sighting. I'm just going to keep talking. Oh, apparently not. I'm just going to keep mentioning porcupine each and every evening in the hope that at some point one materializes. I am actually quite hopeful because I think that the rain that we had last night might stir some of the nocturnal creatures out of their hidey holes a little bit earlier. We can but live in hope as we trundle along. Perhaps a bush baby as well. Throw in an aardwolf to the mix. Haha, maybe. It's possible. There's nothing to say that we couldn't see an aardwolf. But I will also settle for some hyenas. So I'm heading back to the site of the kill. I know that it has gone. Brent found that it was no longer there, but I'm going... Franklin shouting. I'm going to go and investigate just in case some hyenas decide to come wandering around. Just because I was ever so slightly jealous of Brent this morning and his wonderful hyena sighting. I haven't really got to see how our hyenas in what feels like forever. I'm really hoping some of them might have decided to stick around. And let's go and see what we can find. Just unwrap my spotlight from the various radio cables. There we go. It's at that half light time, that grey bush light, that at this point the spotlight isn't really all that useful, because if you use it then you actually just highlight the bushes right next to you, and if you don't, your eyes have to really struggle and concentrate and try and see what might be hiding away. Thank you. And these off-road tracks? Okay, perfect, thank you. Awesome. That might just be old off-road tracks, maybe. We've come down from from Pangolin track. Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Dave just giving me directions because I never went to the sighting, so I didn't know exactly where it was. We'll go and have a look around, see if there's any hyenas lurking. We're not going to go right into the kill, since it's a little bit of unnecessary off-roading, especially since we know that it has gone, it's been dragged off. We're just hoping that the hyenas might be lurking in this area. And of course there's still 2 missing lionesses to locate as well. Oops, sorry, Decker. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to updates on the Game Drive channel as well. As we head off into the evening, sorry, my choking remnants is sort of still there. As we head off into the evening, just listening to the sound of the bush, you'll notice for new viewers that we use a light called a spotlight. Now, what we don't do is stop and show you the diurnal animals. That can't be Brent. I thought he was going in the opposite direction. Huh. Well, in that case, we shall avoid going that way, since Brent has already been that way. I was trying to. Hello. Bye-bye. We'll go a different direction then. If Brent's already checked that area, there's no point in both of us heading across that side. I think he and I probably had the same idea, which was perhaps Karula might head in that direction as well. That's an interesting update. Okay, sorry, I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel, which was the update that there is quite an angry elephant that is wandering about in Must, and I think we actually nearly encountered him last night. I could smell him all around the camp. I never saw him, but I could smell him. Very heavy Must scent in the air. Apparently Aubrey's just called. Now if Aubrey calls, you must, because Aubrey's got years and years of experience, if he calls in on the Game Drive channel to say watch out for that elephant, then you know that he is an elephant to be avoided. Fortunately, he is not on Djuma at the moment. He's up near Buffelshoek. Right, so Kim, returning back to our conversation of the fork-tailed, with the fork-tailed drongo imitating the pearl-spotted, oh, sorry, not Kim, Tim, entirely different name, Tim was wondering, he was wondering, as opposed to Kim, with our conversation with the fork-tailed drongo, what the purpose is behind that imitation ability. There's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because there's quite a few birds throughout the world that demonstrate that particular talent and skill. One I think might be a survival mechanism. I can give you an example of how they use it, but as to why it has evolved, I guess it's quite useful. So one of the things that the fork-tailed drongo is famous for in the Kalahari is imitating meerkat alarm calls. Now the fascinating and amazing thing about that is not all meerkat alarm calls mean the same thing. So the fork-tailed drongo has learnt which one means drop your food and run away and hide. Because some might mean come here, or look to the skies, or look over there, whatever they may mean. And what they do is the fork-tailed drongo gives that call, the meerkats drop their food, and then the fork-tailed drongo sneaks in and steals it. So that's one example of how it would be used. The other is something I've discussed recently. I only found this out while I was working at Wild Earth, just doing some background reading. And that is that in order... Sorry Dave, you're still in the car? Well done. In order to avoid being parasitized by cuckoos, in other words, having a cuckoo egg laid amongst their own clutch, the fork-tailed drongos can imitate the call of a big male cuckoo in order to intimidate all other cuckoos in that area. It's kind of a weapon of defense against, in order to ensure the success of their own offspring rather than that of the bird that is parasitizing them. I'm trying to think, and I'd actually love to hear from all of you, what other uses birds around the world put their mimicking skills, or use their mimicking skills for. Because I know that lots of parrots, of course parrots are the most famous, their ability to talk. There's the lyrebird that imitates anything from an old style dial-up internet connection to any other sounds that it has encountered in the bush. Why would birds do this? Now, I've listed two reasons, or two uses that we know the fork-tailed drongo uses it for. But what else? Is it possible that they do it purely for enjoyment? I don't see why not. What is it in their instinct, in their makeup, that decides to make them? Because what use is imitating a pearl spot owlet? I mean, if you want to go for the intimidation factor, maybe try something like, I don't know, a rose eagle owl, or a pearl-spotted owlet is a bird the size of my hand. Why imitate a pearl-spotted owlet? Might even attract trouble in the form of another pearl-spotted owlet. So why do it? I don't know. It's a really, really nice question, actually, Tim. Thank you for that. I hadn't thought about it before, and I'm going to put my mind to it. And I would actually love for all of you to put your minds to it as well. While we continue to trundle along the western side of quarantine, let's head back on to Rusty to find out how Brent's evening is shaping up.
Well, we're heading back down towards the Mawati river system that we've been spending quite a bit of time around today, and I am hoping that Queen Karula is going to pop up at some point. So we've got a question from an old friend of mine, and his name is Toby Trilonomy Bonomy Pheasant. Can you believe that's actually a person's name? And Toby, when he was younger, he came and spent sort of a working summer at Londolozi while we were there. And Toby went actually on to become a safari guide at Penda. But Toby's asking, do I miss working with trackers, and with my old tracker from Londolozi, Simon Matabula. I definitely do miss working with old Simon. He was probably one of the biggest characters on the Sabi Sands for many years. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if Toby, you're aware of this, he actually passed away this year, but I did get to see him before at the end of last year. He lives just outside from Djuma, but he was a big character, and so, well, I suppose in his honor, and since Toby's asked about Simon, I'll tell you one or two stories about Mr. Matabula. Now, he was quite an intimidating human. He probably weighed about 220 pounds, 230 pounds even possibly. And as you know, and if you've seen the game drive vehicles as they drive past us, the tracker's seat is where our VR rig is. And Simon was not a small tracker, probably around 6 foot, but weighing that monster thing. So it used to take him quite some doing to get off the tracker's seat. And if you'd see Leopard, it would be something like this, sort of try to rock himself and fall off the tracker's seat. And then he would walk, as most trackers in the Sabi Sands walk, across their arms. They walk down the road, looking for tracks. Sorry, I've got to make sure my audio is facing me. Looking for tracks. But then where most trackers would go, it's gone that way, it's gone that way. Because obviously a lot of first-time people on safari and guests and all watching Simon very intently, he would just turn around and go, "Hey, don't check me, I'm not your TV." And then he would walk off laughing. He was quite the character. I had many, many fantastic times with him out in the bush. And you get quite a few different types of trackers. Simon was quite a special type of tracker. He had that wonderful deep voice. But quite often, he had a lot of animal intuition. And now that's not something you can really teach. So the tracks would be heading down this way, and he would turn around to me and say, "No, Mfo, we're going there, to that road, we'll find them there." And truce Bob, we would either find the cat or find the tracks in the complete opposite direction that they were going. So I had an incredible intuition for the big cats and where they moved. Now he worked in the Sabi Sands for over 30 years, and he was an incredible man. His wife also worked at Londolozi, Lucy, and he was an incredible character, and definitely one of the bigger characters that's lived in the Lowveld over the last while. Okay, now I'm sure I got it out just now. Put it back down. So many wires. Jeanre's VR poles. There we go, Jeanre, that's yours. That's Camops. Camops stays in... No, I'm joking. I can't see where the spotlights disappeared to. That's a radio cable. Jeanre, did you move my spotlight? Negative. Okay, I found the cable, the wrong end of the cable. There we go. We have success. So I'm going to hit some of my favorite bush baby spots on our way back towards the DRC. Now, if there's any new viewers out there, I'm not referring to the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm referring to the Djuma research camp, which is where most of us stay. Oh, I can hear a bird I haven't heard for a while, and I'm pretty sure the rain might have something to do with it. Let's just listen. There's a couple of them calling, fiery neck nightjars. Good Lord, deliver us. You hear the buzz of insects that was almost completely absent before the last 2 days and a little bit of rain we've had. Oh dear. I haven't pulled out my ears. They are still there. We're going to start moving our way down towards the Buyatela plan, and it has been great having you all on this sunset safari, and it has actually been a spectacular day. Not a bad Wednesday at work, if I do say so myself. Wild dogs, lions and cubs, leopard cubs, hyenas feasting on the remnants of a lion kill. few great raptors this morning. And the exciting thing is we get to do it all again tomorrow on the Sunrise Safari. So don't forget to join us. Keep sending in all those questions. We really do love hearing from you. And also remember to tell us where you're from. We've got people from all over the world. And well, wait, I got an owl. Look at this. The eagle owls have taken over the Wahlberg's eagle nest. So the Wahlbergs are seasonal. They've migrated away. And I've just noticed, I just suddenly saw, there we go. And they could quite easily use the Varro's eagle owl nest the Wahlberg eagle nest, while the Wahlbergs are away. Look at that, there we go, Varro's eagle owl. It's the largest owl species we get at Djuma, the second largest owl species in southern Africa. Also, it used to be called the giant eagle owl. The only owl that's bigger is the Pell's fishing owl. Now, there's two things. It could be utilizing the Wahlberg's nest. We'll have to check here during the day. Or it could have seen a squirrel or small bird or maybe something to eat might have been around that nest and they've pounced on it. Just looking up a little bit. I'm trying to see what I'm looking at, but there we go. So we drive down this road very often and we know that nest exceptionally well. So it's definitely just noticed the nest had changed shape. There we go. Well, we definitely have to check here in the morning, because if it's still sitting in the morning, and owl chicks are just some of the cutest creatures in the world. They are literally strange looking, but very, very cute. Yeah, well, no wonder. If she is planning on nesting there, look at the silhouette. We're going to not want to spend too much time disturbing her on that nest. So as I was saying, from myself and Jean-Ray, thanks again, and we'll see you bright and early for the Sunrise Safari.
You have arrived just in time, because as I came through, this tree lit up like a Christmas tree full of bush baby lights. I counted 3, not lights, obviously, there's their eyes. I've counted 3. It's at the tree behind that tree. Oof, it's going to be so tricky to show you though. But really, honestly, in my spotlight, they look so cool. Just these bright twinkling eyes of the little bush babies jumping about. There's 4 of them actually. It's such a pity we don't have the camera that's on the back of Brent's vehicle. I'm going to try go backwards for Dave. Oh, such a tricky spot. So many of them. They must all have been sleeping in that tree together. And they're waking up now. Oh no, I don't think I can do it. It's behind there. Oh, what a pity. Oh well. Let's try from here. No. No. Oh. I think it's the only place I can. It's that tree at the back. I don't think we can get there. Did you see him jump? Yeah. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Oh dear. Hopping about in the tree. You might be able to catch a glimpse of the movement. He's now in the middle of my spotlight. Oh, there's a whole load of them jumping around. They're all in this tree. The bush babies generally sleep together in their trees, or wherever they happen to choose as a suitable resting place for the night. You can see bouncing around, just the movement of the branches. I'm busy looking, trying to find one to show you, but unfortunately they are just that little bit too far. Oh well, it was a brave attempt.
Just slightly off to the left, eh?
That one.
Yeah, just behind.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Come on, bush babies, come this way, please. Ooh, bouncing far, but not closer, just along. Oh, hold on, now he's coming closer. Hold on, we might be able to get lucky here. I see you, little one. right in the middle of my spotlight. I don't want to take my eyes off him to look at my monitor. Oh, there he is. You got him. Awesome. There's 2 of them in there, bouncing about together. Yay! We did manage to get the bush babies on the screen before the end of our sunset safari. Such adorable little creatures, the smallest primate, tiny little nocturnal primates. Right, well, that's that, I think. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of our sunset safari, and it's time to do our thank yous and goodbyes, with all 3 little bush babies now collecting in this particular tree. We're going to say farewell to all. A big thank you to Dave for his fantastic camera work. Well done, Dave, in getting these bush babies, as well as to Rebecca and to Jerry and Chelsea in Final Control. Most importantly, a huge thank you to all of you. We love having you on the back of the vehicle each and every day with us, and we look forward to tomorrow morning when we can do this all again. Bye-bye.